G'day and welcome back on board Sea Monkey, where I'm doing some maintenance this week, including building a lagoon or a lagoon table to make the saloon nice and comfortable, doing a bit of sewing of some winch covers to keep the winches nice and clean, making up a lee cloth for my pilot berth, installing some second-hand self-tailing winches, making a bin in the galley to keep the galley nice and tidy, and finally I'll be making some new cushions for the inside. Enjoy the ride. So one of the things I'm keen to have on the boat, which I don't have at the moment, is a table. So I've got a lagoon table leg, or lagoon, I don't know how to pronounce it, lagoon table leg. Don't have a tabletop. So what I want to do is have a tabletop that folds out to a big table, but when it's folded up, just with some beading around the edge, I can just use it for, small meals or cups and plates and stuff. And then when needed, I can open it up, and then it can be a big table for, if I want to do some computer work or something like that. Or I even could lay a chart out on it if I needed to. So I've got these couple of nice pieces of merbau, and I'm going to install a couple of hinges, the beading on the underside, so the beading will go around there, and then when it opens up, the beading will be hidden. And the reason for that is that I only plan to have it, if I'm on passage or if it's a bit rolly, I'll have it folded up with the beading around the edge so it doesn't the plates and cups and things don't slide off. That's the plan. They got a name for this beading stuff. I don't know what it's called. Anyway, figure it out. Might mention it in the comments. So I whipped down to Bunnings Marine, and I've got a couple of these nice stainless hinges here. What I've done is I've marked out 30 mil in from each side and traced around it. What I'm going to do now is chisel out a recess there so that'll fit snugly in, so that when it's folded up, the hinge isn't going to sit proud and cause it to not fold flat nicely. It's my experience that the chiseling out of the recess is the challenging bit, so I'll see how I go with that. This is the first recess done, so that sits flush there like that. Only another 3 to go. Not real happy about that. Merbau it's a hardwood and it's pretty flaky. So I tried to create the edges with the chisel, but still occasionally you'll get a bit of a catch and it'll pop up like that, but that's alright. It'll come alright once I varnish it up. So that's the hinges in. I'll never make a cabinet maker, but you get the idea. That's when I don't need a big table. When I need a big table, just like that. The hinges hold it, and the way the boards are shaped hold it flat. Alright, now I'm going to put the bits of moulding around the side. So as you can see, a nice miter cut there. That's the way it'll go. I've done that to both ends. But you know the old adage, measure twice, cut once? Yeah, fucking idiot. So there's the stuff that goes around the side. Don't know what it's called. Stops cups falling off. You see it sits up a bit like that. That's not a problem. I'm just going to put a latch on the end there to keep it latched closed, which is probably a good idea anyway, if it's a bit rolly. But when that opens up, this will be hidden underneath, so you'll just see a nice flat table. So I'm just going to let that dry now, and then I'll put the varnish on, and then I'll be done. Putting on the final coat of tabletop clear, which is a good water-based varnish, and same as what I did with the mirror restoration. just brushing along the grain and then tipping it out with, tipping it out, I don't think that's the right word, finishing it off with a foam brush just to make it nice and smooth. And what I've also done is fit the little catches to keep it closed when it's folded. So next after this is to fit it to the table, or the table leg, and then we should be good to go. With a bit of help from my dad, I installed the lagoon table, lagoon, I don't know how to pronounce it. Anyway, yeah, just swivels out like this into the middle of the cabin. And when I want a big table, just undo that, and there we go. And occupies the center of the cabin like that. I am very, very, very happy with this. It is such a good setup. And when it's folded up like that, you can see those little rails there. I know it's often cut out on the corners so that liquid can spill away. I didn't do that. But yeah, there we go. All done. Now it's time for dinner. And just like that, dinner is served. Very, very happy with the table. After about 3 trips back and forth, finally finished the companionway doors. Took a heap of recutting and remeasuring and redrawing, but it's much better now. Got an opening window there, port light, and little handles to help carry the washboards around. Stainless steel locks, works a lot better and looks way better than that epoxy peeling blue colour. So getting the jobs done. Winch day. So as you can see there, I've got a single speed Barlow 20 winch, and that's my sheet winch. Sorry about the thumb there, or finger, using the iPhone. So what I normally do is I'll put a few wraps around that and trim the sails and cleat it off on the jam cleats there. It's not a heap of fun single-handing. Trying to helm, manage the main sheet, especially in attack, manage the main sheet, trim the sails, cleat it off, and do it all single-handed. So I've been keeping an eye out for some self-tailors, and I've picked up these. Here we go, look at that. Looks shiny. It's a bit old. It's a Barlow 24, so slightly bigger, 2-speed winch. But importantly, as you can see there, it's got a self-tailer. And the way that works is you put at least 2 wraps around. 3 is better, you get more grip. These are pretty shiny there, so it's not going to be real grippy, but certainly more grippy than what I've got on that. A couple of wraps around there, and come over the thingamajig there. There's probably a proper name for it, and then around the top of the drum. And this actually serves the purpose of the jam cleat there, so it cleats it off. But the other good thing about it is, as you're trimming it and as you're sheeting it in, the self-tailer actually tails the winch for you. So tailing is like, for those that don't know much about sailing, tailing is managing the tail of the sheet, the line that you're using, and making sure that it doesn't become all tangled. So it tails off there and cleats at the same time in the jamming thingamajig there, using all the technical terms. So what have I got to do? Well, I've got to dismantle this winch to access there's some bolts in there, so I've got to access those. I'm just going to have a quick squeeze. I'm not going to service the winches today. I don't have winch grease, and I need to get some winch grease. They seem to operate, they're a little bit noisy, and I'll see what they look like inside. I'm guessing that the grease is going to be all brown and shitty. So that'll be a job for another weekend. But anyway, dismantle that so I can access the bolt holes. Remove the old Barlow there, single speed. It's just a screw. There we go, screw in the top there. Unscrew that, and the whole drum lifts off, and I can access they're a slotted head bolt, and then underneath, inside the sort of holes in the side of the I'm doing really good with the terminology today. Pockets there. I can access the bolts, so I just undo those. I'm expecting it to be a bit of a pain in the ass, so we'll see how we go. So a couple of winches to dismantle, and then I'll get with installing the 24 here. I've done a rough measurement, and it should fit. It's slightly bigger. We'll see how we go. All right, I'll speak to you again when I've started dismantling this winch here. I'll start getting into it. And just removing the screw out of the top there. Haven't made it easy for myself by putting these railings on, but I'll get in there. Okay, that's out there. And that should just lift off. There we go. Alright, so there the screws there. Those of you that have not seen the inside of a single speed winch, it's pretty straightforward. There's no gears, there's just two roller bearings, two roller bearing things there. These are called pawls. That little washer there holds the pawls from popping out, so I just need to be careful that I don't play around with the winch too much, because that washer will come off, pawls will flip out, and we'll just turn to custard. So yeah, that looks pretty straightforward. I'm expecting these to be nice and tight. So what I'll do is once I've pulled this off, I'll put some Sika inside the holes, drill out new ones. It doesn't actually communicate with the inside of the boat here, so if they did leak a bit, it's not a problem. It's not solid fiberglass, it's timber core, so I'm just make sure I seal inside that timber core there, because otherwise it the moisture migrates up the timber and makes it go all soft. So that's the plan. I'll start dismantling the big winch now. Alright, the bolts are coming out alright, except for this one up the back here. I'll try and get that focused. There we go. So that one up the back there is jammed tight in. So what I'll do is I'll remove all of the other bolts, put the drum back on, and then twist the drum anti-clockwise around that screw, and that should loosen it. So we'll see how we go there. Failing that, what I can do is put a large slotted head screwdriver that fits in nicely there, and use a pipe wrench on the screwdriver, and that leverage will undo the screw. Last option is an impact driver, but I'm not going to do that. Alright, that did the trick. I'll loosen it up. I should be able to get that screw out now. Well, that was a bit of a shit show. All the bolts came out except for that last one that was giving me trouble. That was the nut had actually solidly kind of bonded to the bolt, so I had to get a tungsten drill bit, drill out the head of the bolt, and remove it that way. So anyway, I didn't show you that process, but it's done now. What I did is I've got a screwdriver there holding onto that, and then just levering that around. There we go. All right, should be able to just twist that off. Looks like that's come off nicely. Okay, just like that. And I tend to put things sort of in the order that I take them off. So that goes there. Don't need to mark this because you just put that wherever you want it. So that pops off. Really easy. No. Yeah, so I'll probably just have to just lever that off with the screwdriver. And then there's 3 screws under here. Undo those, that plastic thing comes off, and then the winch comes apart. Sorry, you don't just lift this off. I lift the whole drum up, and then that comes off. Alright, and then pull the drum off. Got plastic down here because it's a bit greasy, but I might move that and just put it on the chuck. There we go. Unless you really need to, you don't need to take the plastic bit off the top there. So just set that aside. And you can see there it's a bit grozzly. And there's a few bits and pieces in here that I'll need to do something about. Just bits of crap basically. So there's a gear there, another gear inside, a couple of screws here or bolts from when it was dismantled. Sorry, bad camera angle there. There'll be some more bolts in there that I just need to access. When you're servicing the winch, silicon there. When you're servicing the winch, there's 3 Allen keys there. So first thing you do is remove these bearings. I don't think I'll do that today. This is still nice and greasy inside. Doesn't look like there's anything broken. Gears all seem to be intact. It's all bronze, so it's quite robust. So what I'm looking at here is just to see if there's anything that's come adrift, and or if the winch inside is actually really dry. It's not. There's still plenty of grease in there, so I can probably do without a service until, you know, in a few weeks time when I come and spend some time on the boat. Bearings there, I'll just make sure all the rollers seem to be intact. Spacer there, make sure that's not cracked. But when you're servicing, as I was saying before, 3 Allen keys, remove the bearings, that piece comes off, and then you just clean up all the gears, and then put it back together in the order that you removed it or dismantled it. But what I'll be doing is videoing that, or at least taking a photo at each stage so that I know how it goes back together. I don't know what I did in the days before videoing, but it's certainly an easy way to work out how things go back together if you forget. But to be honest, these winches, this is an older one. Even though it's old, it's still pretty easy to figure out how it all goes back together. The new one's even easier still, but I think I won't have any problem here. So I'll remove all these screws, I'll get the other winch off, drill the holes, seal the holes, and then install the winch. We'll see how we go. The winch is on. So what I did is I sealed the holes from the old winch because they were a smaller diameter across the between the centers. Drilled new holes, sealed those, and then I fitted the winch to the winch base to the new holes. They're all tightened up, it's all sealed up, so now I'm going to slip the drum back on, align the tailer, and we're good to go. Okey-dokey. Yeah, you can see it's tailing by itself there. Because of the way I've got the bimini set up, I'm not going to be able to do full rotations, but that's not an issue, because when I'm normally trimming, I'll sheet it on like that, and then tighten it up. What you would normally do is sheet it on over the top like that, and then off she comes. Cool. All right, now to do the other side. Ta-da! Both sides done. And now we have self-tailors on both sides of the boat for the head sheet, Genoa sheets, head sail sheets. Happy with that. Now that the winches are installed, it's time to sew up some winch covers. The ones that you see here are some interim ones that I sewed up with just some canvas material. I ended up getting some sunbrella and sewing up some proper winch covers, and they were a lot more robust. But these ones did the job for a month, and they're a good one to sew up if you just want something quick and dirty. Okay, that's the hem done. This is the inside of the winch cover. And what I've also done is I've marked the center line of the bit that goes around the side of the winch. What do we call that? Sock? I don't know. And the reason I do work out the center is there's probably a better way of doing that, but this is just the way I do it. Because the bottom of the winch is got a greater circumference than the top of the winch, I can measure that 35 centimeters circumference of the top of the winch, and then mark that down to 1 centimeter in from the side to allow for the seam. So what we'll end up with here is 43 centimeters along the bottom, which is the circumference of the bottom of the winch, and 35 centimeters across the top, which is the circumference of the top of the winch. So the next thing I do is I sew this seam here. So just basically fold it in half and sew along there, and then I sew the top of the winch cover on. So I'll show you how to do that. So you can see that's done now, and you basically, the way sewing seems to work is you sew everything inside out, and then you turn it right side in, and you can see the seam there. All right, the next bit is to sew the top on. Now, this can be a bit of a trap for young players. You want to sew it along that bit there, like the seam there, but make sure you got this on the right side, because otherwise you'll end up with this bit when you turn it inside out. The sewing will be nicely hidden, but then this bit, the sewing will be showing, and it'll look shit house. Again, ask me how I know. We'll learn a lot of this stuff by making mistakes. So anyway, you basically chuck this on the inside like that. It's hard to do one-handed. And then you just go around and you just sew along there. I'll get it started and I'll show you part way through of what I mean. Trick I forgot to tell you is you turn this bit the right way out, so like the inside out way of what you're sewing it, and start sewing this there like that with the circle bit, the top of the winch cover on the outside. Remember before I said make sure it's on the inside, but only make sure it's on the inside when you've got the barrel bit inside out. The reason I do that is that it's really easy then to line, to sort of feed this through the sewing machine as you're going, and then part way through, when you need to finish it off, you just turn the whole lot inside out and finish it off. So I'll give you an idea of what I mean once I get going. I'll try to set up kind of like a little stand here. You'll laugh if you see how it was set up. Anyway, this is what I mean. So you can line up that edge of the circle there with the edge of the hem. You think, how's that going to actually work? But it's surprising how it all comes together. Keep in mind, I've been sewing on a sewing machine for a grand total of 1 day. keep it straightening. Make sure there's no sort of wrinkles underneath. Alright, now remember before I said turn it inside out, so it's all sort of getting all bunched up there and it's becoming a little bit of a pain in the ass. So you just get the needle out there, pop this up, pull that out. I'll just give this a bit of a snip off. And pull out those threads. There's probably some sewing experts out there going, what are you doing? That. Gotta work out which one to pull. Damn thing always gets tangled up. There we go. Just the way the machine works, the way this magic is put together. Alright, what I'm doing at the moment is I'm turning it inside out. And you'll see in a moment I'll be back in the game with sewing this thing. Alright, there we go. So I've turned it inside out. You can see there's the seam from earlier on. And I just feed this over I think that's called the foot. No, that's the foot. Let's call it arm or something, I don't know. I am talking to myself. That's looking better. I'll fix all these loose threads up later. Right, most of the trick to it is actually getting everything lined up nicely. Oh, and you go backwards and forwards a bit at the start, just to lock the threads off. This flat bit here is a bit of a pain. You know what, you can actually just cut that off. That's to give it the angle. There we go. Crack on. Forgot to do that before. Right, there we go. Keep going. Alright, so that's what it should look like. An inside out thingamajig. The next bit is the elastic that goes around the waist. That's a tricky bit, I reckon, and I've figured out a good way of doing it, so I'll show you that in a moment. So you basically put the elastic in the middle there, and I've already started it off, done the back and forth bit to lock in the stitches. The setting that I've got it on is you can change all the settings there. It's a zigzaggy one. Couple of reasons for that. One, it looks good, but because the elastic stretches, you want the zigzag to be able to stretch with it. So what you do is you basically stretch the elastic and sew it in the stretched position. And keep in mind, this thing's inside out, right? So, and the sewing machine just kind of pulls it through. Sometimes you need to help it a little bit. There's probably people that can do this super quick, but I take my time. You know, it's a bit like putting the yacht in the pen. Slow as pro. Actually, not sure slow as pro applies to sewing, but anyway. Don't know how they can make a suit in an afternoon in Hong Kong. Alright, I'll show you when it's done anyway. And there you have it. That's the finished product. Just trim off all the loose bits of thread, get rid of the loose elastic, and there's your winch cover. If you've got really big winches, like most people other than me do, it's obviously going to be easier. You might want to do 2 of those angled seams, and you might want to, instead of elastic, you might want to use, put a drawstring in, and that's another level of complexity, but pretty easy to do. I did it with my tiller cover, put a drawstring in. So I hope that's useful. These are going to go on the Sea Monkey this weekend, and it will look very nice, I'm sure. Thanks for watching. And while I was at it, I thought I would do the cushions on the yacht as well. Not going to go through the detail of how to throw a cushion together, but not like I did with the winch covers. But basically, you get your foam cut to the right size, you mark out the perimeter of the foam, add half of the height of the side, plus some seam allowance, and you cut all that out, so it's like a big double version of this. Cut the corners out, sew up the corners, sew the zipper on, sew it all together, stuff the cushion in. Yeah, there's plenty of videos online to how it's done, but I'll give you an idea of what it looks like when it's all done. Oh, and the fabric is a weatherproof canvas, and it is called Yacht Race. It was on special, so I'm pretty happy with that. That's what the old cushions look like. These are the V-berth ones, so they're not as worn as the ones in the quarter berth. Quarter berth ones are disgusting, but the smell of them is bloody awful. It smells like a combination of cigarette smoke, shit and vomit. Anyway, they're going in the rubbish tomorrow, and I'll show you the new ones. I've made these ones with zips. The other ones were just all stitched together, which is nice and secure, but it makes it difficult to wash the covers. And that pattern is called, I think I mentioned it before, it's called Yacht Race. It actually doesn't look too bad, and some advice I had was not to use plain colours, because that shows up dirt and stains a lot more. Not that I plan on getting dirt and stains in my precious boat. Yeah, but I think that's a much nicer look. Should freshen up the interior quite a bit. So considering a week ago I couldn't sew to save my life, now I made those, I'm pretty happy. Alright, it's time to make some leg cloths, or a leg cloth for my pilot berth. This is a cloth that stops you falling out of the bunk when the boat heels to one side, and what I'm doing here is sewing the hem. The hem has been cut with a hot knife so it doesn't fray as much, and the next couple of videos are just the addition. So I've sewn some pockets into the inside of the leg cloth there, so I've got the mobile there ready to check navigation while I'm on course, and here I'm knocking some holes in for the grommets, cutting a hole for the grommet because the little hammer thing didn't work very well, so I wouldn't recommend that. So I just cut the holes there, as you can see, and then sealed the edges with a soldering iron to stop it fraying too much.
And that seemed to do the trick, rather than using that hammer punch thing that came in the kit, which was useless. Here I'm installing the inside bit of the grommet, and then I fit the outside bit of the grommet. They've probably got proper names, but anyway, I'll just call it the inside bit and the outside bit. And then there's the bottom part of the I guess you call it a die or something like that, and the top bit, put that on a solid piece of ground. I don't know what happened there to the camera. Oh yeah, it fell over. Sorry about the shit camera work, but anyway, I've just got it all on the ground there, and I'm hitting it with a hammer just to make it nice and closed up, and you should see a well-made grommet.
And there's the finished product. Just got some clips there, pulleys, and round turn and a slipping knot, and a very comfortable pilot berth with a lee sheet. Here's another project that I've done. So I had two basins, one there, one here, and I have this situation where I've got rubbish, and I thought it'd be really cool to have a rubbish bin there. I had a chopping board there that used to just go all over the place when I was in a sea. So what I did was I cut the bottom off the other basin. Hang on, I'll show you. Alrighty, there's the rubbish bag, and it's got the little bumpers there that I can actually use it as a chopping board so that it doesn't slide around, but let's see if that works. Oh, perfect. Look at that. And there you go. And it doesn't move around. Very happy with that. Alright, another job done. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed that. In the next maintenance video, you'll be looking at this mess, and that will be me going through the electrical on the boat from beginning to end. If you like what you see, click like and subscribe, and don't forget to hit that notification button. Thanks for watching.